Hey, Andrew. Good morning.
Hey, Rob.
Uh,
Good morning.
when you look at the Central Florida offense, they probably play as fast as anybody in the country. How important is it for your guys to get lined up right away, and how difficult will it be for you to work your substitutions in?
Absolutely critical. Matter of fact, the last period of the day, we didn't even run plays. Coach Collins helped us well in defense. He serviced just a look team in a formation. Um, he called a formation. I called a play from the sideline. The guys got lined up, and then as immediately as he snapped the football, they had to go run to a spot to the opposite side of the field. While he's doing that, he's setting up the next formation. They've got to run back to the line of scrimmage, get their eyes to the sideline, and we did that for 8 consecutive plays. So even at the end of practice, you cannot recreate that. We're doing everything we can to try to give them a game environment for that tempo, but you can't recreate it. We also felt that feeling on Saturday. The first drive got us on our heels. Florida State did a great job of being aggressive, using tempo to their advantage, and got us on our heels and got the best of us on the first drive as well. So we've got that one out of the way. At least we've got that game experience, that game rep out of the way as well to feel it a little bit. But they do as good a job as anybody in the country at pushing the tempo. So we're trying to get as many cumulative plays in a row, trying to push the play count for the groups, not just 3 or 4 plays at a time, but more than 6 and 7 plays at the time. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about our rotation, subbing on the near sideline, on dead balls, making sure that we don't just have one group. And that's all we always talk about, having depth in our ATL environment.
Next question's from Kelly Quinlan from Rivals.
Hey, Andrew, can you talk a little bit? There's
Hey,
two
Kelly.
things I'm curious about. Spidersims coming, in for Trey and playing a really great game for you guys. And then also just kind of adjusting to those defensive line injuries and kind of the next man up in that group.
Sure. Yeah, so I'll address you. Asked about Spider first. You asked about Spider, but just very complimentary of Jeff Popovich and the corner group. There was so much talk about Florida State, deservedly so, in their wide receiver group. Tremarian Terry got more publicity than anyone going into the game, and just the veteran wide receiver group, with all the attention they got, was well deserved. But if they're getting all that attention, then somebody needs to pay a little bit of attention to our DBs. Our corners played really well. They really eliminated explosives out on the perimeter. There was very little free space or free access for the quarterback to throw to the outside wide receivers in particular. And Spider came in with a start alongside Zamari Walton, and even Tobias Oliver got reps. Keenan Johnson played a critical role, but their corners played really well. They were sticky, and then even at moment of truths, they were disruptive with the football. We created 7 PBUs as well in the secondary. The last 2 plays of the game, Zamari Walton closes the game out with back-to-back PBUs on 3rd down and 4th down. Even on the 4th down, everyone sees the quarterback gets hit, but Zamari Walton on that play, the receiver, they checked the play to the sideline. He had a tight split. They moved the wide receiver out on a wide split. Zamari, through his preparation and field study, knew that because of that split, they were going to run the inside slant. He ran the route for him. Tremarian Terry couldn't even get off the line of scrimmage, and that's why it was such a bad throw, because of the corner disruption, much less the hit by Chico Bennett. Again, you asked about Spider. Very pleased with him stepping in a starting role in the absence of Trace Willing, and he played well. He played physical. What are his dominant traits? He's big, he has long limbs, he has long arms, he has size. Those are the type of guys we like to recruit. So he made it very difficult on the line of scrimmage for those wide receivers to get off. So he won at the top end of routes, and then he played very composed as well at the moment of truth. You asked about defensive line and rotation. Very proud of Larry Knight and Marco Coleman, just the development that they've had in that room. There was no star player. I know Curtis Ryans did get whatever accolade he got, the Defensive Player of the Week. He came up with 2 critical forced fumbles and 2 sacks and created negative plays, but just a collective effort by the defensive line was critical. I know now Coach has announced that TK is down, so that's one less guy in the rotation on the interior, but Coach Knight had those guys rolling. Diamond Brooks is a single-digit guy inside for us. I continue to compliment Jaquan Griffin on the camp that he had, on the preparation he had, and it showed up in the game on Saturday. But we even had Daquan Dowson there, and we had Jahazel Lee in there, and Michael Lockhart, and Akilo Stone in there getting reps on the interior, so that those guys can play with relentless effort, with a rotation, trusting each other to play hard. And then out on the perimeter, there's just guys that will kind of go unnoticed on the stat sheet. Curtis got a lot of the accolades because of the disruptive plays that he made. But Jordan Dominic played incredibly hard. Sylvain Union, maybe, I don't even know if he had a stat out there, but he pushed the pocket all day. He set edges, played at a high level out there. But we look different on the defensive front. You know, you look at the rush statistics. We talk about building a wall and setting edges. The wall on the interior, and then in pass rush, there weren't a lot of sexy pass rush moves where we just won. Not including Curtis's 2 wins, but we pushed the pocket and controlled rush lanes, and just a ton of progress. So really proud about the inside effort that we had. That makes the back 7, the linebackers and the DBs life much easier and allowed them to play at a high level.
Next question is from Ken Segura from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Andrew, I wanted to ask you a little more about that, about the line. It did seem like you were getting pressure just rushing 4 a lot, which, you know, obviously is an improvement and obviously important. Going into UCF, I would suspect it's going to be even tougher a challenge of you know, pressuring the quarterback with 4. Just how do you anticipate and what do you kind of hope to see from your guys in this game Saturday?
Sure, yeah. So UCF, when people think about their offense, probably get stigmatized as just explosive skill players, and just the big, sexy plays. But they're a physical bunch, and you know, part of that is they're very good on the offensive line. Whatever Power 5 and Group of 5, whatever that means, that does not hold true for a UCF team. They are one of the elite teams in college football, and just offensively, they've got explosive playmakers. They have great skill. But they start by establishing the interior with a really good offensive line. They go so fast, they get you tired. So when you're tired, you want to pass rush less. You're so worried about getting lined up. Your execution, your assignments get a little bit tougher because you're tired and you're thinking. You're not able to execute. So that's the way that they have success. But we've got to create pressure. We've got to create pressure with a collective depth chart, with push of the pocket. We've got to pick and prod when we can pressure them. But we've got to create it just with our base defense, to your point, and that was a big difference in Florida State. Our 4-down rush was able to push the pocket more to make the quarterback uncomfortable. It wasn't necessarily just patterns or, you know, just cool design blitzes that were coming free. It was guys playing with a really good effort and controlling and pushing the pocket, which we worked a lot on in the offseason. So being selfless in their rush lanes, not 4 guys on the front just trying to win their one-on-ones, but trying to work collectively together so that you have 4 points on the quarterback and pushing it. And they did a great job with that. So UCF creates a challenge with their pace and tempo. They create a challenge with their run game. They create a challenge with their max protection, where they have 7 mans in protection and just run deep routes and perimeter screens. So more difficult to get pressure on, but we've got to find ways by being selective by scheme.
Next question comes from John Cooper with the Good Word.
Hey, Coach. First off, congratulations on your award as National Coordinator of the Week. This week, obviously, with Central Florida coming to town, it's Coach OLeary will be honored. You spent a little time under Coach OLeary. What was the biggest influence he had on you, and do you have a favorite George OLeary moment?
Oh, man, I can't say that on this one. First of all, I'm mad at Mike Flynn for saying that. That's embarrassing. Thank you for the compliment, but it's all about the kids. The kids went and played their freaking tails off. Holy moly, it's all about those guys. They were composed. They established what our culture looks like out on the field through really tough and adverse moments, and they just kept playing really hard and played together. So proud of the collective defensive effort. George OLeary, in my opinions and many coaches' opinions, Coach Collins, Coach Key, myself, who have worked underneath him, is a legend in this profession. There's many opinions on him, but he is a legend in this profession, and I had the great fortune of being a 23-year-old graduate assistant. My first moment in college football was working underneath the head coaching tutor of George OLeary at UCF. So what does he teach you? This ain't easy. Football ain't easy, and I'll use the word ain't. It ain't easy. It is difficult. It is demanding. It is a violent, it is a physical sport, and there are no excuses in this. All the lessons that you learn about in life, about adversity, about responding, about discipline, he demands those things, and he treats everybody the same. He treats everybody fairly. That may be good or bad at moments, but he treats everybody the same and creates a very tough environment. So you think about toughness, you think about discipline, you think about doing your job when you talk about George OLeary, and sincerely one of the coaching legends in this profession. I'm so fortunate to work underneath him early in my profession, and he's been a big deal here at Georgia Tech. I'm passing on the favorite moments. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm so sorry, John. I'm passing on favorite moments. I'm going to get myself in trouble on this medium. Let's talk privately. Got some great stories though.
Okay, time for one more question for Coach Thacker, and it comes from Patrick Canaro from the Dahlonega Nugget.
Good morning, Coach. Congratulations. Back to the FSU game for 1 second, please. I just want to know, without giving away any trade secrets, did that first interruption, the game time interruption in the first quarter, afford you an opportunity to review things with your defense that worked to your benefit? You look like a completely different unit after that weather interruption.
Sure. So one of the things about a first opponent, and then Memphis, it was Coach Norvell coming from Memphis, so you didn't exactly know how they were going to use their personnel pieces. So on the first drive, Coach Norvell and the Florida State staff, they did a great job of using their personnel in different ways. So for example, number 8 is a running back, but he was out in a wide receiver position running jet sweeps and doing different things. Those are things that we couldn't prepare for to know how they were going to do their scheme. And then across the country, offenses, Dave Patino does a phenomenal job, but they have opening scripts. So people have their base offense, right? And then over the course of the game, an 80-play game, at some point they get into their base structure and their base offense. But every offense in the country has what they call an opening script. And they rehearse those 5 to 8 to 10 plays. So they've got their plays rehearsed, and it's not necessarily their base. So they create a lot of confusion formationally and play-wise. So to be honest with you, they had me on my heels. They had me on the hills, and they got the best of me, not the kids, in the first snap, and I take full blame for it. So we talk about all the culture pieces showing up in the game, right? The resiliency, the effort, the relentless effort and the grit. But one other thing that I want to talk about our kids and our staff was composure. We got scored on in the first drive, and then there's a lightning delay. We ended up having 30 minutes. We had every single play drawn up that they ran. We knew how that they used their pieces. We knew that the next time they gave us those formations, this is what we would like to run versus this. These are the clues. This is where we want your eyes to do. The look of the eyes in our locker room, there was composure. It was locked in. Although we had given up the first drive, it was a little bit of, you get punched in the gut. Our guys were locked in. They were ready. They looked me in the eye. They had great energy to them. They took the coaching points. So when we went back out and saw the same formations, we had a plan and were able to do that. And then at that point, just all the other things that define our defense, the effort piece, the grit, the toughness, the sure tackling, just building a wall at the line of scrimmage, all those things could show up. But to your point, it was an advantage that we had an opportunity to go inside off the lightning delay after that first series and make the adjustments. And just so many compliments to our coaching staff, to Coach Collins included, and then just our kids of being composed in those moments and being able to make mid-game adjustments. But it was not out coaching. It was all the players out there playing their tails off and just tackling and flying around with great energy and just staying composed through the course of the game.